Welcome back, everybody. Automotive Inc. here. Today we are going to talk about a question I get posed with quite a bit. People are new to fifth wheeling, or they're coming from, say, a long bed truck to a short bed, and they want to know, do you need to use a slider hitch? Okay, well, slider hitches are typically a little bit more expensive, a little bit more moving parts, and that right there for me, guys, I've never used one in my entire life, and I would say that most of my trucks, probably 90% of them, are short beds. So even when I had my Rams that were short beds, even my Mega Cab Dually was a short bed, had a 6.4 foot bed, and I did not have a slider in there. I did have the factory puck system, but I had a B&W 25K hitch, non-slider. All right, now a lot of people know, and they say, well, but my comfort level and everything like that. Let's take a look at two different kinds of trailer setups here. So some of the newer ones right here, they have the max turn, or they have these edged or beveled creases. The nose cuts in to help you with turning radius. You can see though, the point of the trailer itself is way out. We come over here to my trailer and the nose is basically flat across, basically square on the corners. Even though there's a little bit of a rounded edge, there's no cutout here for you to miss. Now you can see right here, guys, there's plenty of room to do most, if not all, of our maneuvering without ever even having to worry about it. In addition, you guys can probably move your hitch slightly depending on where it's at, even though it's not a slider. So like my B&W, I can move it up and down from the pins, and I can also set it back in the actual frame of the hitch 1 to 2 inches. That being said, you want your load to be basically in line with the center of your axle, if at all possible. So if your kingpin's coming straight down, it should be as close to that axle as possible. And then I see a lot of guys doing wonky stuffs on their videos with fifth wheels and everything like that. And a lot of them sometimes end up in tragedy, but I guess it makes good footage. So this is my parents' trailer. Again, basically a flat nose. You can see the actual pin box doesn't come that far out from the nose itself. No rounded corners. This is my dad's 2011 Duramax diesel, 3/4 ton. And as you can see, most of the time the pin boxes really don't stick out much further. You can see that one over there, maybe about 8-9 inches from the actual front of the trailer. Again, this is a pull right. I like B&W better, but this is a fixed hitch, guys. And people are asking me, because they're saying I have a short bed. Okay, so Rams has the shortest short bed in the market, and I never had any issues with it. That's a 6'4". GM's is 6'10", and Ford's is 6'8". So really, you're only about a foot short of being a long bed anyway. And people keep saying, well, what if I need to 90-degree turn my trailer? That means that this truck, instead of being parallel, is perpendicular, meaning this edge gets real close to the cab structure and that. And I am going to encourage you guys and ask you guys to please stop doing that. I work at a place right now where we sell $1 million motorhomes, work on $500,000 horse trailers, stuff like that. These campers, not a horse trailer, horse trailers are built a little bit different for gooseneck and stuff. They have some pretty robust axles. These axles on these things are cheesy. And most of the time, the tires on these trailers are also pretty cheesy, meaning they don't have a strong sidewall. Guys, there should be no position, unless it's an emergency, where you need to U-turn this trailer. That's dangerous. Go someplace, use a light, use a parking lot to turn around, something like that. Don't do U-turns on the highway. That is dangerous and stupid. Okay? And for you guys that do it and say, I do it all the time, hey man, I hope you're safe out there, because it's not just you, it's not just me, it's everybody else and their families on the road. So you have to keep that in consideration. Most people are not expecting a Titanic like this to be doing a U-turn in front of them. But in reality, when we look at these axles on these trailers, guys, they are just not very strong. Sidewalls on the tires are not very strong to be pushing these like a semi-trailer or a horse trailer. And what you're doing is one, you're probably damaging your sidewall of your tire, especially if it's hot. And two, you're probably knocking your axles out of alignment, which means the trailer will then dog track. And all I can say, guys, is you can turn these trailers pretty tight. I mean, I've seen the Sidewinder hitch where it lets you turn like a U-turn, a 1/6. Guys, that is a horrible idea. If it's on gravel, you might be able to put a little bit less stress on these axles, but no matter if it's a high-end fifth wheel like this one, which actually has like heavy-duty tires on it, the axles themselves are just not robust. I mean, you can look at the shackles and everything. It's just thin steel. You guys got to stop thinking that you're going to have to turn this that tight. Again, I have never lost a back window, and I've turned my trailer fairly tight, but at a 90, why? Why? You should not be spinning your RV on a 90 and trying to do that. And like I said, I see guys doing it all the time saying, hey, can I do a 90 with this truck? And that doesn't make any sense to me. If you want to get a slider to give you a little bit more comfort, then you have to remember to make sure it's latched, make sure you're using it properly. Make sure whatever lubrication it needs is going to be lubed often. And then remember that when you do that, you're cheating yourself out of honing your skills to get better at backing. I've been to tons of campgrounds, whether it's this 40-footer, whether it's my 41-footer, whether it's this 32 or 36. And as long as your space is big enough, there is ample enough room to get in there. And if for some reason people park wherever they want, wherever you're camping, man, we're all campers. How about go ask them, say, hey, I'm just not comfortable backing it in between your cars because they're kind of sticking out. Would you mind moving it for a second? I have never had one other camper be like, no, I ain't doing that. Everybody's really nice, and a lot of people will try and help. But at the end of the day, guys, you do not need a slider fifth wheel hitch. Sorry, it's hotter than a cooked oven out here. You do not need a slider hitch with a short bed truck. If that's what you choose and you want to spend the extra cash and do the extra maintenance on it, then go for it. Go for it. But do you need it? No. Hone your skills, watch your backing. And another little hack I'm going to show you guys. We do this when I was hauling dry van across the country, a semi with a sleeper and a 53-foot dry van. Those truck trailers are made to be kinked however you need to. But what they did is they came over on the trailer and they found out what I call the point of no return, meaning you can turn your trailer. You don't even have to go to a 90 to figure this out. You can go to a 90 where you find in your mirror where this and this, so you can keep turning it until the gap you're comfortable with is. Stop right there. Go down to Walmart or Granger or whoever. I'll even put a link on the Zon because I bought it there before, and get some nice reflective tape. You can get in all kinds of different colors so it can match your trailer. And in that mirror, come back here and mark where you see that line in your mirror. That's your point of no return. Measure it off, go on the other side, that's your point of no return. That means that's it. That's as far as you can go. And I still guarantee you that you guys can still pinch this almost on a 90 with a fixed hitch in a Ram with the shortest box and an older trailer that has no curved nose or max turn radius nose or whatever you want to call it. If you mark that, then that is your reference point for when you're backing in a spot. You're like, hey, I'm at my point of no return. So I'm either A, gonna have to do a pull up, correct it or whatever, but it's all really about your setup. Unless you're trying to put a 40-foot trailer in a 20-foot Class B spot, you're not going to be, you need to 90 this. I'm telling you guys, please stop doing it, because I've never even lost an axle on a trailer or have had a shackle break, but we see it all the time. And people are like, I don't know what happened, it's just busted. And that can happen, but at the end of the day, I would guarantee this is probably operator error. So to answer all the questions, no, you don't need a slider. If I was going to buy a slider, what would I buy? The B&W. I'm not endorsed by them. I've had hitches all my life from them. I like the way the mechanism works for releasing and latching over any other one out there. All of them have their pros and cons, but I have yet to find any cons with my B&W. You can take that to the bank. It's a great hitch, and it's easy for anybody to do. But at the end of the day, no slider here. Catch you on the next one.